This offensive and defensive player of the year edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. You can win up to 100 times your entry with the Underdog Fantasy Pick'em. Sign up with SGPN to claim your special pick and first time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by the Mega Memorial Merch Sale. 15% off everything in the SGPN merch store with the promo code SGPNMay.
Hi, this is Merrill Hodge, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride, baby.
Cox. He's one of those guys who will get penetration.
Welcome everyone to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, sagging the money green with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer?
Dog.
Ciao.
Oh, you're already Ryan. That Tommy DeVito jersey comes in. All of a sudden, you're speaking.
I was trying to think where I should put. Maybe I should hang it, get it framed, and put it right over here, right off camera, so I can always touch it when I need inspiration and motivation from a great Italian American, New Jersey born athlete.
So what did you actually? Because we had this discussion in the office.
What do you mean?
What did you pay for your autographed Tommy DeVito jersey? And did the autograph on the Tommy DeVito jersey bring down the value of the jersey itself? What would sell for more, a Giants jersey or the Giants jersey with the Tommy DeVito?
It was $40 with a $6.80 like platform fee.
Okay,
and some like similar shipping fee. So all in nut was $52. $52.80.
$52.80. Little squeeze in the chat saying there is no off season for pretzel crust. Yes, I forgot about the Little Caesars reads.
No,
the guy so committed, Ryan. He has his profile icon changed to Little Caesars. Ryan, is your X profile still your Little Caesars Photoshop?
Yes.
Okay.
Will I?
So you're giving that space out for free?
Will I be changing it this week? Yes.
Oh, what are you going to change it to? Or is that a big reveal?
Well, we're diving in. You, me, the bet detective. Thursday. What time was the episode, Sean? Maybe Josh can tell us.
Thursday afternoon.
I would tune in.
Yeah.
We're going somewhere we don't often go. And I'm not even talking about Champions League because we're gonna have that too. So Thursday is gonna be real weird. It's gonna be like a wobbly H podcast.
People, Sergio in the YouTube chat asking if the Tommy DeVito jersey came with some Little Caesars pretzel crust.
That's insulting. What the fuck are you talking about?
What? I'd say it might be insulting to Little Caesars, right? Little Caesars.
That's that Italian bullshit. He's talking about North Central New Jersey, East Coast thin crust greasy pizza. The kind of pizza some pussy from California would take a napkin out and dap up all the grease.
Oh, you want to talk about small dog energy?
What do you think when you see someone do that? And it's not a female. No offense. I mean, I know people think I'm a chauvinist with my Caitlin Clark takes, but I do have
putting Caitlin Clark in a body bag. And shout out to Terrell Furman on the Best Bets episode last night. Gave out the Sparks as a +6, and they covered on the money line as well. Josh Green over 4.5 points that came through thanks to the Rhythm app. Make sure you download the Rhythm app.
New system. Fade Caitlin Clark, not athletic.
Fade Caitlin Clark, and the Rhythm also has the WNBA player props. If you haven't already downloaded the Rhythm app, it's pretty awesome. I've been on a heater just playing their best plays there. RITHMM, free 7-day trial. Highly recommend it. Get it going right now. For all your NBA, WNBA, and they also have a bunch of golf stuff as well. Download the Rhythm app and get going, man. The place for data-driven props and picks over on Rhythm. But again, they've been on a heater. Bills Mafia DJ saying can't get enough NFL futures. Yes,
you're
this
welcome.
is the time. We're sitting here. We're soaking it up, Ryan.
Well, it's your lucky day too, because I shouldn't say it's your lucky day, but we are ramping down some other sports, so I think it's only fair that we'll probably be adding maybe a second NFL futures episode every week. I mean, Sean, we're here. I'm watching highlights of football on social media. All right, I don't know what you're thinking about.
No, I mean OTAs are great. It gets you fired up about football.
I wake up, I walk. This is basically my morning. I wake up, I check in on NFL activities via the wire, and then I check in on my digital ponies.
Yeah,
and then I get coffee.
I do all that minus the digital ponies.
Oh, what do you mean?
I don't have any digital ponies. Not yet. I probably will at some point. Cave. I feel like the horse is out of the barn, and I missed it with the digital ponies. I know you and Scott and producer Josh have been having a lot of fun. I didn't get invited, so I wish you guys the best of luck.
Yeah, you're welcome to join. It's very.
It's already in.
Honestly,
I'm already too late to hop in. Right.
If you got in March, had I told you to get in March or April, you would be underwater right now.
Oh, okay.
So, if anything, I did you a
Oh, thank you.
The tip of the spear sometimes gets bent. Don't think anyone's ever said that before, but yeah, no. Well, more futures episodes. We'll continue to do the best ball because whenever we threaten to take away the best ball episodes, people get upset.
No, people love it.
Which is shocking to me.
Well, people love best ball because
I feel like it's the most boring podcast episodes we do because we're just doing a draft.
But I think it's fun because we rattle through. I mean, we basically go through every relevant fantasy football player with our takes, with the team takes. Worked in there,
verbose.
And it's fun that you can hop in with the drafts over at youtube.com/sportsgambling podcast.
Sweet hat, Sean.
Sweet hat indeed. Yeah. Still the Mega Memorial merch sale ends end of the week. So SGPN May 15% off everything. Shout out to Jake, the new hat. If producer Josh has I'm going to call them shirts of summer. A very patriotic feel. The new SGPN DJ shirts. If you can pop those up,
feels scandalous.
Really? Why?
Shirts of summer.
Well, I don't want to call them Dream Team knockoff shirts, Ryan, because I don't want corporate gambling coming after us.
Yeah, I mean, I do. Sure, I have no problem with the name. I'm just saying it feels a little scandalous. That's all.
Okay.
Sometimes scandal's good. Sex sells, Sean.
Certainly.
Yeah.
That is our secret to merch success. Sex sells.
Yep.
All right, Ryan. We're going to start with the defensive player of the year futures and then work our way over to offense.
Can we just have an open conversation about what these sports books are? We love the sports books, all of them. But come on, did we really need to list 194 players for defensive player of the year?
No, we didn't.
All right, so let's zoom out a little bit.
No.
If you are signed up over on Patreon, you got. I would say I was doing a little pre-show touting, and it had nothing to do with any of the bets or the Fever losing.
You were badgering Josh to compliment you on your.
I was bullying
your
Josh.
Sheet. This is an amazing sheet, right?
I even offered him a sample rating. I rated it a 9.1, saying it didn't have the degree of difficulty to get all the way to 10, but it's pretty nice. Anyway, I did include historical. Not only are the positions color coded to help with your simple mind, but I have the historical stuff.
Oh wow, that is a fun sheet.
Okay, that felt a little sarcastic and also a little bit where you were impressed, but you didn't want to act too impressed.
No, this is impressive. Myles Garrett is a defensive lineman.
No,
I saw you update that there.
Oh yeah, I must have fucked that up early. I had to adjust the so standard positions on the offensive side of the ball forever. Pro Football Focus, it's always the same. Sorry, Pro Football Reference. Defensive players, they go from like somewhat standard to like somehow JJ Watt and Aaron Donald played different positions. Meanwhile, you go back far enough and they have right nose tackle, right defensive tackle, left inside linebacker. It got really crazy. So I had to normalize it. But what I did, I normalized the position so we could go back and look, what does it take to win a defensive player of the year award?
Yeah.
And I think you'll be a little surprised. But I think we've also seen some like outlier absolute freaks lately that maybe throw out the data. But basically, of late, this is a sack award.
Mm.
What do you mean?
Well, I don't know.
Over the last 10 years, 9 times it was won by an edge or a defensive lineman. And those defensive linemen were JJ Watt and Aaron Donald. So you're talking about sack masters anyway. Stephon Gilmore, the only outlier in terms of defensive backs. Then you zoom out, you go to the last 20 years, really all that show up here outside of defensive linemen and edge are a couple defensive backs. You go back to the days where safeties could do it. Bob Sanders is in the mix. Troy Polamalu. You have a couple linebackers and Brian Urlacher and Luke Kuechly, but still very much an outlier in my opinion. So what I would say is if you zoom out all the way, you get tons of linebackers. You get tons of these positions that don't matter as much anymore. DBs, safeties. And so basically you have to be someone who gets sacks. That was the.
Oh yeah, you have to get sacks, but it's not necessarily the sack leader. Like last year, Myles Garrett only had 14 sacks. TJ Watt had 19.
Correct. You don't have to be the sack leader. You have to. It would be silly to bet on someone that doesn't get sacks.
Okay. Yes.
Right.
I
Like
totally
in terms
agree.
of ruling out players, you really shouldn't be betting on defensive backs.
Well, and also too,
think about last year. We had someone get a tremendous amount of pick sixes. It was the dream year for a defensive back getting in the mix. And maybe if that is someone like a Sauce Gardner, he's got a chance, a little bit more cachet.
Well, I do think, and just looking at some of these names here, it does seem. Well, one, I think your team has to make the playoffs. I don't think you can win this award without your team.
Is that you think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
I don't have the data on that.
I'm just eye testing it, and all these teams made the playoffs. I mean, even TJ Watt in 2021, Steelers made it. I'm pretty sure with 9-7-1. Yeah, I think you have to be a decent team. I think this is
you
a
can't
really
be a
tough
trash team. It's not like baseball where you can win the MVP on the worst team in baseball.
Yeah, like okay, if you're 9-8 and you don't get the wild card, but you dominate on defense, sure. But I think it's eventually going to go to a defensive player, a defensive lineman, or whatever, or edge rusher. That's a linebacker.
I try basically what I call the defensive lineman is someone like Aaron Donald, a TJ Watt, like not
someone
clearly
who's rushing
on the
pass.
line, and then basically everyone else that is a sack person, I just called him an edge. Yeah. I just kept it simple. You're an edge.
Well, and I do
football heads are going to get mad at us now.
No,
you don't know ball.
I do think you look at these names; they're big names with cachet. To your point, Ryan.
Yeah.
The Cowboy who will not be named, who had a lot of pick sixes last year, he's just not going to get it. He's not a big name. The Cowboys defense wasn't good enough or dominant enough. And that's a great scenario. Like if that guy's not going to get it,
he's 250 to 1 this year.
Yeah.
Deron Bland is who we're talking about.
He's just not, these guys aren't going to get it. I also think,
well, he's a good case too, because he's like, not only is he a lesser known guy that you can rule out, he also kind of allows you to rule out cornerbacks in general. Because if you're gonna had that level of impact to that many games and not even be really considered,
I'm not going to play. I mean, we'll go over the picks here in just a second, but no one in the defensive secondary I'm playing. I'm only playing pass rushers with a high sack ceiling that have some sort of name that can generate a little bit of buzz. Because I do think when it comes down to it, you look at the sack leaders of last year. Like I said, TJ Watt already won it, and I do think there could be. And I don't know. It's interesting because JJ Watt won it 3 times, and Aaron Donald won it 3 times. So certainly, you look at the offensive player of the year. I think they've become more inclined to give it to a new person. Maybe not the case for defensive line. Also, those guys just were really dominant. But a guy like Trey Hendrickson had 17.5 sacks last year. I don't think he really had a shot. Even Khalil Mack had 17 sacks. Probably didn't have a shot. Like those type of guys, I think you're almost better off playing the lead the sack market than defensive player of the year. I think defensive player of the year, you also have to factor in the cachet of that player. Now, Myles Garrett,
it's an MVP award for the defense. That's the difference. What you're describing. It doesn't matter that Tua led the league in passing yards because he was clearly not the MVP.
Yeah. I mean, Danielle Hunter on the Vikings, now on the Texans, 16.5 sacks, just was not going to be a guy they're going to give it to.
Did you read off who, just for reference?
These are all guys that had more sacks than Myles Garrett.
Here's who got vote. Here's the voting points from last year. I feel like last year was a fairly interesting case study. All right, you had Myles Garrett 165 points, TJ Watt 140 points,
Yeah,
Micah Parsons 89 points. Then you drop down to Max Crosby 21, who Max Crosby had an amazing year last year, 14 and a half sacks. Bland only had 14 points. He got 1 first place vote. Fred Warner then after that, Sean. At linebacker with 7 points, then Antoine Winfield 7 points. So you're just getting people voting for the guy on their team. Roquan Smith 4 points, Dexter Lawrence a point, Khalil Mack a point, and Justin Matabuke, the Ravens a point. So I mean, this kind of highlights the case. You had 3 stud pass rushers last year that kind of came into the league or into the season with that in mind, and Max Crosby had a great year.
Yeah,
he stepped into it. Dexter Lawrence, clearly an MVP on a defense on a not so good team. He got a point, and it was not from the New York market. So shout out to him. But so yeah, I think to your point, I'm going to do a filter now. So let's. So we safe to say we can delete all the defensive backs.
Yeah,
and the linebackers.
Yep.
Okay. So I do that, and yeah, sorry, it's going to filter out the other tables for a second, but. Now we can look at it, and I'm also not going to go to the bottom and bring up guys because you said it's cachet. You got to have cachet.
Also rookies, just throw those out.
No rookies. You can't. It's an MVP award, so Micah Parsons was like the closest that we had.
Yeah, he
to
was
like
kind of in the mix.
People were talking about that, but starting at the top, Micah Parsons is 6-1. Garrett 7-1. Bosa 8-1.
So we're starting at the top
because there's so many fucking names. Okay. I thought it'd make sense, and we kind of had the same case in mind that you kind of have to be a favorite. It's hard to come out of nowhere here. So Parsons 6-1, Garrett 7-1, Bosa 8-1, Watt 8-1, and I'll include Crosby in the mix here at 10-1.
And I forget if I mentioned it, but it's kind of covered in the cachet thing. You really have to be. We saw it with defensive rookie of the year. There are the exceptions. But I think defensive player of the year, you also have to have the pedigree, AKA when you were drafted. Like most of these guys that are in the mix that win these, with the exception of Aaron Donald,
Crosby,
Max Crosby won.
No, he didn't. No, you're right. Winners, yes.
Yeah,
I'm saying in the mix here.
Okay, but I'm just saying. Look at Myles Garrett, T.J. Watt, Nick Bosa, J.J. Watt. Like they're all top picks. I think you have to be in that top 15 of the first round.
And I think a lot of that is because it's hard to be a long shot defensive lineman. Like the Michael Strahan stories of the world don't happen all the time because a lot of it is it's one of the few, it's one of the positions where like freak athleticism probably translates the most. So of that kind of top tier, Parsons, Garrett, Bosa, one of the Bosas, younger Bosa, Watt, Crosby, I feel like we have to choose a guy from this range. And we might look like some long shots too, but isn't someone most likely winning out of this batch right here? And you can probably even take Crosby out of it, like barring injury.
Yeah, I mean, I would.
TJ Watt revenge tour feels right.
Yeah, I mean, I'll put in TJ Watt, but the
JJ was crying for him, putting side by side stat.
I mean, he did have 19 sacks. Like it's kind of crazy.
Put me down for TJ Watt too. I mean. You want to talk about a fun way to have some additional action on the Steelers?
Yeah, and that defense, you look at the back end, that should be a little bit better. He's gonna be in a position, and again, they play high-profile quarterbacks: Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, and
Deshaun
Watson. I mean, he wins games. TJ Watt wins games by himself.
I'm not touching Deshaun Watson.
And we see the stat every time he misses a game. His with and without. Metrics. Myles Garrett got it last year. I don't know. I like Myles Garrett. He's very good. I'm not going to talk smack on him, but for the case of defensive player of the year, I think you would have to have a crazy year, way better than last year to get it.
Go back to back.
I mean,
you say that, but dudes do go back to back.
No, they do. I'm just saying, I don't know if Myles Garrett has it in him, and I don't know if I want that price at 7-1. Micah Parsons, the media, I'm sure, is dying to give it to him. He has the numbers. But he seems to fall off in the second half of the season. And again, a lot of people were tagging me in the Cowboys going 0-17. My simulations have that happening 56% of the time this season. So I'm not high on the Dallas Cowboys this year. So I think if you're a team that's going to be 6-11, 5-12, 0-17, I think it's going to be tough to have defensive player of the year on.
I mean, you made the joke, but it was a little insulting that someone would think that I would put $1 on anything.
Yeah, come on. What is it?
What do we look like here? All right, so I should have included Hutchinson too, because Crosby and Hutchinson at 10-1 and 16-1 kind of sit in an interesting realm here.
Well, and we didn't really say much about Nick Bosa, but
not interested at all.
Yeah, he has a good case. There's
too much other sexiness on that team.
I love Hutch at 16-1. Love it. With
storyline, narrative, buy into the Lions' pride, one pride.
I think it just checks a ton of boxes. I think he led first off,
would people want to vote for him?
Yeah.
Check. Love his family. Check. Great story. Local kid. Check.
Upside on the sacks. Super high pick. Has the pedigree.
Small hands. Remember,
hands.
We shook his hand after the draft.
Yeah, I was like, oh, he's gonna be a bust.
We
he's got
worried
small hands.
He might be a little bit of a bust there.
Well, and the Lions, they are a team that's gonna be catching some hype. They're gonna be talking about, oh, look at this Lions defense. And again, just eye test. Like, he had a good rookie year. He made a nice leap up to year 2.
Kind of a long shot, but not really a long shot.
Yeah, this at 16-1. This is still something that has a chance of cashing. That's not like a crazy dart throw. So yeah, I like 16-1.
All right, then we kind of take a big.
Are you also on Hutch?
No, I'm not. On
okay,
Hutch.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
The area I like about it, and you know what you said earlier about.
I mean, again, to me, and Parsons actually had 103, but Hutchinson had 101 QB pressure. So if you believe that, and Myles Garrett only had 86 last year.
Here's the problem with
he was 7th.
My I think this might be one where you look to play the sack leader prop, because I think there's a more likely scenario that even if he has a good year sack wise, they're still going to suck on defense relative to the offense.
I think if their defense does make a little bit of improvement,
it's going to be
he's going to be getting a ton of credit. And I think at 16-1, that's a good price. I would say this, Ryan.
I see no reason why the defense will take.
I think if he gets, I think if he gets sack leader, I would almost lock him up 100% for defensive player of the year. He fits the profile.
What's the price
the pedigree.
on sack leader?
I don't have that market up, but certainly we should pull that up.
I'm gonna head over to the market. You need anything? Yeah.
Yeah, come on, put me down for a sack leader.
I'm gonna be late for dinner, honey. Let's see here. We got. I wonder if I don't think they have sack leader.
Yeah, I'm only seeing the offensive stuff. So that'll be an interesting market to compare him to. But 16-1, he has the name. He has everything going for him.
Yeah, I do worry that. I mean, I wonder if he will be that level of impact player. Okay, because I think. Like there's even some guys we're going to list off here that might not be able to put up the stats that are seen as a bigger impact player. So let dropping off a tier here now, 25-1. You have Chris Jones, you have Josh Allen from the Jags who plays defense, and Will Anderson Jr. from the Texans. To me, Chris Jones is the very obvious pick here. He's already spoken about as a game-changing player. He's spoken about as if it's not even a question that he's one of the top defensive tackles in the game. Basically, it seems like most people agree that that's like a locked up thing, and everyone agreed that he was the most critical piece of this defense. And the Chiefs agreed when they let Snead go find a trade partner because they were going to pay this man. So I know the counting stats aren't there. I know he's on the Chiefs.
Yep.
Which is always going to put him behind the 8 ball. But this price is what makes me like the Hutch one less, I guess. I mean, I don't hate your argument for any of it, but when I see a 25-1 for a guy who is seen as a defensive MVP and one of the best in the game in terms of allowing the defense to be what they are.
To me, part of the handicap too is if the long shot guys I'm going to be taking are guys in that like 2 to 3 year mark. That aren't the chalky favorites because, I mean, Chris Jones has been in the league 8 years.
Yeah.
He's received 1 defensive player of the year vote. To me.
I'm not going to place a bet on him, but I'm telling you why, why the Hutchinson price. I think people like you saw Hutchinson. He probably opened closer to 25-1. He's been bet down because it's a compelling case.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't. I think the one you circle here is probably Will Anderson for the same reason you were talking about.
Yeah, I mean he
take a step forward.
Yeah, he had 7 sacks his rookie year. Him making a leap up again. If the Texans end up being that team, that number 1 seed, a lot of these news people that are voting for this, I'm sure, have spent the entire summer hyping up the Houston Texans, how they're going to be that team. Certainly a good scheme. Certainly has a lot of opportunities to create sacks, create opportunities. Do I want a little Will Anderson Jr.? I'm right on the edge.
Let me throw a little.
Right.
I'll add in Donnell Hunter here because he's 30-1 and he's Will Anderson's teammate, and that to me poses a little bit of a problem here.
True. Yeah, you're right. So I'm not going to vote for either of them because Will Anderson Jr. is a good case, but to your point, Danielle Hunter is a guy
big time.
He's not going to win. He's not going to win Defensive Player of the Year, but he is a guy who's going to get a shit ton of sacks, and I think that is enough to eat away at Will Anderson Jr.'s chance to get it. So it's kind of on the fence about Will Anderson Jr. I can definitely see the case, but for me, it's a no.
Probably a little bit of that cachet you were talking about.
Well, Danielle Hunter doesn't have it.
I think it's Donnell, isn't it? Is it Danielle?
I mean,
I might have been called. I mean, that seems like a soft ad. I'd have a hard time.
No one named Danielle is winning Defensive Player of the Year.
Be careful. The Caitlin Clark fans might come after you. Rashawn Gary. All right, so we'll drop down another tier. We don't like anyone here. I Will Anderson's interesting because of that high pick and everything. But yeah, I just wish they didn't have. I wish he didn't have competition.
No,
right
the Danielle Hunter signing is what got me off of it. But yeah, I don't. It's like right in that sweet spot where it's close.
Montez Sweat, Rashawn Gary, both 40-1. Brian Burns, 50-1, and let's see here, Hassan Reddick, Quinnen Williams, and Trey Hendrickson at 60-1. All of these guys probably Sweat, Gary, Burns, Reddick, Hendrickson probably all have sack ceilings. They're all playing in scenarios that should be like keying in around getting them opportunities to rush the passer. I think all of them. Quinnen Williams is the D lineman there. That's like, if you think a D lineman has a chance to win, there's no reason to not think Quinnen Williams can't win. Quinnen Williams can't win.
I mean, Trey
I don't like that.
Trey Hendrickson at 60-1, we should be on him, but how? Like
how many sacks did he have last year?
He had 17 and a half, and he didn't get. He got Pro Bowl. That was all he got. He didn't get defensive. He didn't get one Defensive Player of the Year vote. Like,
but if he runs that season back,
yeah,
and yeah, he would need a number of players to not do as well, I guess.
No, he just doesn't have the name. And again, he's in what 3, 4. He's had 7 seasons already in the league. The voting public has decided we're not going to vote for Trey Hendrickson. He could have 20 sacks, and I don't think he could win.
It's fair.
He's a guy.
He's not changing the game, I guess.
He's a guy that's but he's really good. I don't think guys are actually watching film. It's just like big name player in a team that's going to be in the playoffs. Big market.
I also think it's worth noting the guy. It's rare that these guys aren't two-way players. If they are a pass rusher. So
what do you mean?
Like they're also critical in stopping the run. They're not. I mean, I say that because Brian Burns is going to be playing like a wide 9 edge rusher. Hassan Reddick is similar to that. And you can kind of rule guys out like that. I do think that you're gonna just being like a sack master. To me, you're not changing the game enough. To me, I start to when we get to this range, I start to favor the defensive linemen because these are all world players.
I think now maybe Hassan Reddick, you might be getting close because in 2022. So hear me out. Jets get the number 1 seed. Aaron Rodgers is good, not amazing. He's not in the MVP mix. Defense really plays well. The problem is, I guess you have Sauce Gardner,
Quinnen Williams.
Yeah. The pro is, if he's a guy that gets, now he had 16 sacks in 2022 for the Eagles. He did get some AP Defensive Player of the Year votes that year. So he has the name for it. He got 2 first place votes. He was at least in the mix.
I disagree. I don't know if he. He would have to have an elite sack. He's probably another one where.
No, I think if because he's now and he was playing for the Eagles.
He's in a reserve role though. I don't think he's going to get the snaps to do it.
No, it's 60-1 for a reason. I'm telling you, the formula is if he has 18, 19 sacks, which I think is possible. I think him to win Defensive Player of the Year. I think because he's plays for the Jets, and then it would mean the Jets are like a number 1 or 2 seed.
Yeah,
I think there would be some Hassan Reddick Defensive Player of the Year talk. But do I like it at 60-1? He's a guy. I think him and Hendrickson. I'd rather play sack leader, and we'll see the prices on those.
Probably similar. Now we're probably at that range where it's going to be similar here.
Yeah, at least 60-1. Hassan Reddick and Hendrickson. You could kind of talk yourself into it. But again, they're a little short on the cachet stuff.
Yeah, I agree. I think most of the guys we just talked, Montez Sweat, Rashawn Gary, Brian Burns, none of these guys are top shelf like celebrities in the NFL. All right, next up we got 75-1, 3 guys: Jalen Phillips, Kayvon Thibodeau, Joey Bosa. If you're asking me the Giants question, Kayvon Thibodeau has much more like cachet and like awareness. He shouldn't have longer odds than Brian Burns. But you shouldn't play either one of those guys. Maybe I'll privately play Brian Burns because he does fancy himself Spider-Man. Jalen Phillips, any interest there? The other Bosa?
Yeah, I mean Joey Bosa. I feel like we
did this last year.
We fired darts on Joey Bosa every year. The other problem is Khalil Mack is right there, and Khalil Mack steals all his sacks.
He is now on a Harbaugh
Khalil Mack
team,
had 6 sacks in a game.
I could see him and Harbaugh headbutting each other.
Well, but also I think Harbaugh. You want to talk? It was. I'm trying to think. Nick Bosa was drafted after Harbaugh.
What do you in terms of going to Ohio State? Well, he was at Michigan.
No, what year? So he was drafted in 2019.
Yeah,
Harbaugh was already at Michigan.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, okay. I was trying to see if there was a Harbaugh Bosa connection. I don't know.
No sleepovers.
Yeah, Bosa at 75-1.
No.
Damn, it's tempting, but
That's a good price. What's
the
Mac?
number?
100-1. Do you just take both of those guys and roll the dice that Harbaugh has completely flipped the defense? That would be certainly.
Damn, that's tempting.
Do we just sprinkle? I thought we're out on the Chargers this year.
What? No, I think they're going to bring some physicality. You're out. That's why I'm buying in. Is finally you decide to move on. Just when they bring some physicality, some intensity.
Good luck with Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack.
No, I'm not sprinkling because I got 100-1, Ryan. That
100-1. We got a bunch of guys here. I'll rattle them off quickly. Let's see here. We got Jalen Carter, Bradley Chubb, Justin Matabuke, who said, like I said, he got a vote last year. Khalil Mack, as we just talked about, Dexter Lawrence, Alex Highsmith, who talked to some Steelers fans. He gets some sacks, but no chance in fucking hell he's getting this award. And Jeffrey Simmons, all 100-1. So Simmons, Dexter Lawrence, Matabuke, Jalen Carter, Quinnen Williams, Chris Jones, they all fit the same category. Top shelf interior defensive linemen that can absolutely be an Aaron Donald type play. So you have to ask 2 questions. Are they going to be given the freedom in the defense that they're in to get sacks? Cause you can't have no sacks. And I think most importantly, do they have the name brand? Because you're playing interior defensive lineman. You can't just be a stat nerd, an NFL nerd, fanboy type guy. No! It has to have transcended to like. I think for me, it's Chris Jones is on this list. Dexter Lawrence is on this list. Matabuke obviously is on this list, and I think Jalen Carter's on this list. Jeffrey Simmons is interesting because of his situation. I think it's going to be a little tougher for him to get there.
Love Jalen Carter, Defensive Player of the Year, 100-1. Get those wherever you can. I can't wait till we're out at the Circle Run. I'm going to get a paper ticket of Jalen Carter coming off a 7-sack season.
You don't think the bad guy talk will get in the way?
No, nope. I mean, we can talk about Malik Neighbors and his gun incident later, but Ryan,
what does that have to do with what?
Well, you're just trying.
That was extremely defensive.
No, Jalen Carter.
That was exextremely defensive.
Jalen Carter. There is still no media negative stereotype regarding Jalen Carter anymore. 100-1. I'm telling you, it's not going to stop people from voting him. When he was playing really well for the majority of the season, now he fell off like the entire defense fell off those last 4 games, but he had 7 sacks. He was very disruptive. He blew up the defensive line. He's already gelling very well with Coach Vic Fangio. By all accounts, he's been very vocal. The beat reporters are saying he's emerging as a leader in the locker room. Fletcher Cox retired. He said he's getting in better shape to warrant the increased snap count. Everything is lining up, and he is a top 10 talent. And you've seen, I mean, watch guys like Brian Baldinger just get a football boner breaking down Jalen Carter, destroying offensive linemen. Now it's 100 to 1.
In fairness, Baldy gets really hard talking about all the defensive linemen we just mentioned. Oh, 100. Trust me, I've watched him get fucking hard and like, you know, multiple finishes talking about Dexter Lawrence too.
But you know when to call.
I think these guys are all in that same category. It's can they can they get enough snaps? I think for Jalen Carter, that's the big question.
100%.
Dexter Lawrence, that wasn't a question. He was on the field all the time. He was already in shape because he was a professional. But I think also, can they get over the hump of getting enough sacks? Like they have to get to the quarterback a little bit.
Yeah, and he had 6 sacks last year. I may have just
I think Jalen Carter has probably the best. Well, assuming the roles don't change, he has probably the best chance to lead this group in sacks.
I mean, Dexter Lawrence. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess he's interesting because he's
spoken about like Chris Jones as like a defense changing like interior defensive lineman. There's a couple on the list, and he's one of them. I think to most people who that's
to me, Dexter Lawrence.
He got a vote last year too.
Yeah, he got a vote, but I just don't think he's going to get the sacks. Like he's been in the league. He's going into year 6. He's only
completely different defensive system this year. So I'm not exactly sure what it's going to mean to him. I don't think it hurts to have an additional like Pro Bowl caliber pass rusher on the outside in terms of him getting freed up. But I don't know if his like whoever's he's going to be running with is going to be on the same level as Leonard Williams or whatever.
Yeah, it's going into year 6. He has 21 career sacks. I think he would need like
he played nose tackle. I mean, I agree. I'm just saying his
nose tackle was when he had his most sacks.
Last year was when he had his most sacks.
No,
correct?
No.
How many sacks did he have last year?
4.5.
Okay.
2022 when he was playing nose tackle, he had 7.5.
Probably his best pressure season last year. But I would say that their defensive line scheme's changing so much. I don't know. Anyway, I don't think you can really reasonably take any of these guys. Is the argument, because even when they have these transcendent years, they don't get the votes. Dexter Lawrence had an incredible year last year. Didn't get but 1 vote.
Yeah, he finished 9th. So to your point, and the Giants aren't a playoff team. I think it's going to be tough.
I mean, I really don't think that matters as much on the defensive side, but
I'm trying. Well, who won it in the last years that didn't?
These Rams teams were not good with Aaron Donald. I don't believe JJ Watt's Texans teams were very good. Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you're a great player, you're gonna probably raise that team.
Rams were good. Rams won the Super Bowl, or not? Sorry, not those years, but I mean, 2017, 2018, 2020, the Rams were good all 3 of those years.
Okay. All right, so Jalen Carter, 100 to 1.
Yeah,
that's really that's why we went down to this level. Anyone else on the list you want to talk about?
After that,
I'm not going to keep reading names. It's hard. I mean, we're down to the range of like Leonard Floyd, Josh Sweat, Jadeveon Clowney.
It is funny. Like, how do they decide some of these guys 250 to 1, some of these guys 300?
Because some of their family members already gotten down. That's the difference. I think I'm single shot in TJ Watt on this one. I don't think it's worth anything to bet any. Yeah, I mean, I don't even have a long shot. It's just I don't see the value in it.
Jalen Carter fits like checks a ton of boxes. 100 to 1 feels great, and Hutch because I think there's still going to be some Lions hype. If yeah, so I like Hutch 16 to 1, TJ Watt 8 to 1, and Jalen Carter 100 to 1. That's going to be a fun one.
Yeah, I mean we'll see if he can play more than half the snaps. That'll be a good start.
What makes you think he's not going to?
What did he do last year?
Well, last year they had Fletcher Cox as well.
Oh, okay.
So it's freeing up a ton of snaps right there.
Yeah, I mean, generally maybe you want to keep him fresh. He wasn't. I mean, well, that was the issue. That's why he wore down.
I wouldn't say that. No,
Okay.
you could say that about Jordan Davis, but not Jalen Carter.
Okay, but he did close out the year really bad. Like he lost the Rookie of the Year award, right?
Yeah, no, he wasn't playing well. I mean, the whole defense wasn't playing well. I don't think it was a lack of freshness. Now, there was questions as what they were doing conditioning wise. Everyone seemed lost in the Matt Patricia defense. So yeah, I don't think it was on Jalen Carter in particular. I wouldn't have picked him as a guy to pick on for falling off. The entire team sucked. All right, let's kick it over to Offensive Player of the Year. Of course, sign up over at Underdog Fantasy. Use that promo code SGPN. Get your special pick and up to a $250 deposit bonus. We've been doing the Best Ball Mania drafts. Again, $15 million in prizes. How can you not have a couple entries? Only $25 entry. So if you get the $250 of bonus cash, that's 10 shots at $15 million in prizes. The Underdog Pick'em is great. I just took. I hit on Josh Green, higher 4.5 points that I got from Rhythm. Underdog Fantasy, of course, is fantasy projections, but you can use a lot of the information you get from the Rhythm app to help you dominate over on Underdog Fantasy. Just use the promo code SGPN, underdogfantasy.com.
All right, so they were kind enough. And by the way, it's objectively funny that they had only 172 people listed for offense. More defensive player than offensive players. All right, real quick, let's just look at the history, because less clear, but also more clear at the same time. Tight ends never won it, Sean.
Wow.
Yep, never won
Haters.
the award. Also, fun fact: it seems like they started giving out the Defensive Player of the Year award in 1971 and the Offensive in 72. I didn't dive any deeper into that.
So there also is a weird thing where it was there was like the AP and there was like
yeah,
two
it was the UNI.
Yeah.
There was it might I don't know, the AP hostile takeover. Who knows what happened there?
Yeah, it's a weird.
All
award.
time, it's 20 quarterbacks, 27 running backs, and only 5 receivers. But 3 of those 5 receivers have been over the last 5 years.
Yeah.
And so I think, when you really zoom in, the award kind of was a like running back award for a bit there, and then a running back or quarterback award. And then whether we had outlier seasons to the receiver or it's just the changing of the game. So yeah, basically last 10, you look at it, 3 quarterbacks, Matt Ryan, Cam Newton, Patrick Mahomes were the quarterbacks.
They also won MVP those years.
Interesting.
Which is weird because it seems like the award now from 2019 on, it seems
we stopped doing that.
Yeah. It seems like the writers decided, hey, this is to the best offensive player that's not a quarterback. This seems like the best quarterback gets MVP, the best offensive player of the year. The best quarterback gets MVP. The best non-quarterback gets offensive player of the year.
I'm going to disagree with that.
Okay.
I think I think it's just the next. I think it's like a second place for MVP. So I think a quarterback can still win the award. I do think. I mean, we saw
I don't think
quarterbacks got votes. Now, perhaps it's just been the seasons we've had. But I kind of think that if there are 2 great quarterback MVP seasons, that we could see one back into. And again, I guess I would caveat, like the Purdy situation made this one quite weird. But even if you look at last year with Justin Jefferson, Patrick Mahomes was number 2, Jalen Hurts was number 3. We can admit Justin Jefferson had a tremendous season, but maybe that doesn't happen if the season isn't as good. So I'm not completely ruling quarterbacks out here.
See, I would, because I think you made a great point there. If it was MVP second place, Jalen Hurts would have won it in my mind in 2022.
Maybe. I mean, but look, to your point, like Patrick Mahomes getting all those votes. Like, were we going to do that again? Were we going to give it out, double up again? Maybe.
I think you have to have a historically good season. Now, to me,
Mahomes wasn't that far off doubling up then.
Okay, but I still think I'm not.
All right, I'm fine. I'm fine taking the quarterbacks out. Although
I'm not playing a quarterback.
What we'll find is the quarterbacks have some pretty fun odds. And so, if you were to play a quarterback, what's the formula? someone that does a lot with their legs, maybe not a traditional MVP, but even then they're probably finding their way to the MVP. Conversation.
I mean,
right?
look, let's just look at some of the names. Josh Allen, 45-1. They would be dying to give Josh Allen the MVP if he had a MVP like season. So,
but it's
the window you have to thread where he has a very good season, doesn't win MVP, and gets Offensive Player of the Year.
All right.
I don't want any
Let's
part
go
of it.
Through the
45-1.
I think we're just I think maybe what would produce the outlier is two amazing quarterback seasons. So much so that they would feel like they had to reward the other quarterback. Maybe a Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes type deal. It would have to be like not just, hey, you're the best two guys. It's hey, these are two of the best seasons we've seen.
But don't they vote on them on the same time? Like they don't know that Josh Allen was the second place. Like when you vote for MVP, you wouldn't know that he didn't win MVP and give him Offensive Player of the Year.
Let's say we have two of the best seasons in NFL history
at quarterback.
And I'm saying I think a lot of the voters, based on what I'm seeing from historical stuff, where I'm saying a lot of the voters, whoever they put first in MVP, the other guy will be first on the offensive player, unless there's some positional player who had a great year.
See, I think the offense. I think to your point, they would steal votes from each other, and the skill player would still win.
I'm saying if the skill player wasn't on the same team, I'm saying only if there was a skill player that had a great year, would that be possible? You're saying it would default to the best skill player. I'm saying there doesn't have, like, we've had some very, very amazing seasons from skill players over the last couple of years. And I think that, coupled with the fact that we haven't had these amazing multiple seasons from quarterbacks, has just created this. I'm saying we're zoomed in. The earth might not actually be hotter. We just got to relax and let things play out a couple more years. So I'm not ruling quarterbacks out. Bottom line. All right.
It's a bad play.
Okay.
No, I don't think
you're telling me over 5 years that like you've made an opinion on something, and I'm saying that it's not enough data for me to rule the position out, because I do think that with some of the value at the quarterback position, if there are two mega quarterback years, the second place guy I think can steal the offensive player of the year.
But then defensive player of the year, I mean, Stephon Gilmore won in 2019. Do you think a defensive back has a chance this year?
What are you talking about? That's an extreme outlier. We outlined how that's an outlier over not just 5 years, but over many seasons.
Okay.
I mean, we looked at over 20 years and there were 5 defensive backs, 4 of which happened 15 to 20 years ago. So that would allow you to see a trend in the data.
So what quarterbacks do you like?
Well, no, we'll go through the odds.
Okay.
I'm just saying that having what's happened over the last couple of years with Michael Thomas, Cooper Kupp, Justin Jefferson mixed in with a couple amazing running back years has allowed this to maybe appear different than it is. That's all. I'm not ruling out quarterback.
I am, because I think just the way the game is, there's going to be a skill player that has an amazing offensive season. And they'll reward him by giving him this award.
Yeah, that you're outlining. That's your opinion,
right?
Zamir White.
That's what I say on the podcast. My opinion.
No, I know. I was just pointing out why your opinion might have flaws, and that it's leaning on a small sample size of data. That's all.
Okay.
All right. So there's a bunch of guys who are all at. I will rule out the. Are we good not talking about tight ends?
Sure.
Is there a tight end that can win? Kyle Pitts MVP. One better placed a wager on Kyle Pitts. So at 400-1, there's a bunch of guys who they've probably listed here because it gives their parents an opportunity to get some action down on them. I don't even Zeke Elliott is on the list.
Matt Collins is on here. Matt Collins couldn't even win the Bills MVP.
Well, that's a good point. Or Adam Thielen, could he rack up a 2,000-yard season with Bryce Young slinging the rock?
What would you rather have? Matt Collins at 400-1 or Daniel Jones 400-1? Oh. And people feel free to weigh it in the chat.
Well, I'd rather have Keon Coleman, who's the #1 receiver in Buffalo, at 400-1.
All right.
That's one of my.
You seen Matt Collins run some routes?
So
Matt Collins has scored a touchdown in the NFL. Keon Coleman hasn't.
If I'm taking some pizza bets here, Keon Coleman 400-1. Diggs has been close in the past with big years.
He's a rookie. This is insane. Are you giving out? Are you giving out Keon Coleman?
Keon Coleman official play.
Okay.
400 to 1. No way this closes at 400 to 1. No way.
So this is just like a CLV thing.
No. I'm 100% getting. I can't wait to get to the Circa. I have so many of these fucking tickets. Were there any players down here that you wanted to talk about? Because I could be convinced to talk about one more. Michael Penix, who we've been backing in almost every market, is 400 to 1 as well. Ryan Tannehill 400 to 1. How'd he get listed? No way. He's the guy on the list where I'm like, no way. Yeah, that's it. I don't have any other. Keon Coleman's another number one for Josh Allen. He shouldn't be 400 to 1. This is a mispricing.
Zamir White's 400 to 1.
Yeah, I mean, he's a fun bet. All right. I'm ready to move on to the 300 to 1s if you are. You want to take Zamir White?
He is a starting running back in the NFL.
He would need to have like a 20 touchdown type season. It isn't Antonio Pierce run the damn ball. I could be talked into sprinkling here. We are heavily invested in Zamir White this offseason.
All right, yeah, Zamir White 400 to 1. I mean, just because could get the carries, and I think
he will get the carries.
Yeah. All right, 400 to 1
right.
Zamir White. I mean, he had 4 touchdowns last year. I guess he did have 100 carry. I mean, if he gets 250 attempts,
we saw it last year with Josh Jacobs. He's basically the same thing.
Yeah.
All right. 300 to 1. Devin Singletary, running back. Justin Fields, Deshaun Watson, Rome Odunze, Baker Mayfield, Josh Downs, Evan Ingram, Zach Charbonnet, Malik Neighbors.
So wait, are you playing Zamir White, Ryan?
Yeah, I'll play that with you.
Okay. 400 to 1.
Yeah, 300 to 1. Any of these guys?
I ran the simulation. It happens 4 out of 400 times. So this should be 100 to 1.
Yeah, we're getting tons of CLV here. We'll go $4 bet instead of. All right, 301. Like I said, Singletary, running back, Odunze, Downs, Ingram, Charbonnet, Malik Neighbors, Jerry Jeudy, T.J. Hawkinson, Brian Robinson, Geno Smith, Joe Mixon, Bryce Young, J.K. Dobbins, Deontay Johnson. Any guys on that? I mean, Deontay Johnson 250 to 1 and Adam Thielen's 400 to 1. Who's making these prices? Malik Neighbors is pretty interesting, right? Yeah, put me down for that one. Give me some 300 to 1.
All right, I'll book it for you. I'll take that, Ryan.
You don't want to book it from me. This will be the greatest piece of content ever.
I'm trying to talk myself into T.J. Hawkinson.
Really? He's going to miss too much of the year.
Oh yeah, you're right. I was thinking
he's going to miss so much.
I was thinking of Laporta. What's Laporta
at? We haven't gotten there yet, Sean.
Okay.
Stay tuned. I don't think we've gotten there yet.
No,
we haven't gotten there yet. All right. 250 to 1. Najee Harris in an Arthur Smith offense. Jordan Addison, Caleb Williams. Interesting. Ramondre Stevenson, Christian Kirk, David Njoku. Nothing there, right? Caleb Williams, rookie, electric season. Maybe they want to pat him on the back. No, rookie of the year. All right.
I think they'll give him rookie of the year. Although this is a fun, yeah.
No one's here.
The quarterback needle you have to thread is just impossible. So no, nothing for me.
I think it's impossible for someone that can win rookie of the year. 200 to 1. Curtis Samuel. That's a horrible price. Javonte Williams, Mark Andrews, Matt Stafford, Kirk Cousins. Oh, that's funny. David Montgomery, James Conner, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Jared Goff. That's interesting. Kyle Pitts, and George Kittle, both 200 to 1. D Hop, Aaron Jones, Chris Godwin, Hollywood Brown, Cortland Sutton. Hollywood Brown was sitting courtside with Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Come on. We got
Hollywood Brown at 200 to 1. I like.
Yeah. Come on.
I mean, again, just cause it's
a
receiver. I mean, if Rashee Rice was playing, if Rashee Rice wasn't suspended, and they didn't bring in Hollywood Brown, I would probably have been on Rashee Rice.
Does Kelsey need to get hurt?
I don't think so. I mean, Kelsey had kind of a flat regular season. Again, it's 200 to 1. I mean, Kelsey getting hurt certainly would help.
Cortland Sutton also number 1 at 200 to 1 here. Any other guys on the list that I gave out that you think have a chance? D Hop catching deep balls from Will Levis.
No.
Jared Goff putting up a bunch of numbers.
It's
actually kind of
in your formula. I think, yeah.
Yeah. Give me Jared Goff too. I'm It's gonna be looking like I'm playing spades over here with my my offensive player of the year tickets. We're still at 150 to 1. I'm loaded up. Zach Moss, Tony Pollard, Marvin Harrison Jr. Sean was getting a little aroused at Marvin Harrison Jr.'s hands.
No, to me, it was about Quentin Johnson. So there was a video where Marvin Harrison Jr. and Quentin Johnson were like catching footballs from the jugs machine, and it made me any sort of hope of reviving Quentin Johnson after watching that.
No chance.
Well, or Marvin Harrison Jr. is gonna be fucking amazing.
Yeah. Oh well,
there was just a huge difference.
He's acting like he's gonna be amazing. He's unwilling to sign the same agreement that every other NFL player is.
There was just a huge difference in their ability to catch the football.
Well, his dad was Marvin Harrison, and we've heard that he does not put up with bullshit. Terry McLaurin, Christian Watson, Jaden Reed, Jalen Waddle, Keenan Allen, Michael Pittman Jr., Brock Purdy, George Pickens, Tua, T. Higgins, Austin Eckler, Kenneth Walker, Trevor Lawrence, Aaron Rodgers, Nick Chubb, DeAndre Swift, Alvin Kamara, all 150 to 1. Some of these players will not be playing to start the year. George Pickens obviously stands out as, receiver, high ceiling. Could he have an outlier season in that offense? Probably.
Yeah,
not.
but I mean,
Probably
wouldn't
not.
you would rather have T. Higgins at 150 to 1, right?
If I'm trying to,
because you have Joe Burrow.
I thought you
Jamar
would have
Chase.
this take. Michael Pittman at 150 to 1. That, like, if I'm a Colts guy, if I'm thinking the Colts are going to have that season, or if I'm thinking that I like Richardson as the MVP, or you were throwing out most passing yards, I certainly would want to take a look at Michael Pittman. He would be the alpha in this equation, right? I just don't know if he's getting the total volume. They brought in Mitchell. They got Downs. They got the tight end. They got a million tight ends. They got Jonathan Taylor.
I mean, he's interesting.
So are you buying any of these guys? Marvin Harrison. What if he is that good?
You know what? I will take Pittman at 150 to 1. To your point, Ryan, I think someone who could win Rookie of the Year. I think your chances of winning Offensive Player of the Year are super slim. Michael Pittman Jr. Again, you play in a dome. I do like the Shane Steichen offense. I think Richardson has a ceiling that's interesting. I mean, coming back to fantasy, I keep drafting him in these best balls. He had the highest fantasy points per snap. Now, again, very limited sample size because he only started 4 games, got knocked out of 2 of them. But it's easy to project a ceiling for Anthony Richardson. Some of that is, especially with fantasies, obviously the rushing, etc. But Michael Pittman Jr. still had a pretty good season last year with not much going on at quarterback. If you believe in Shane Steichen and that offense and in a dome, yeah, Michael Pittman at 150 to 1. The more we talk this out, the more I like it. And to your point, yeah, there's some other pass catchers, but none of those guys I think are going to have a material impact on Michael Pittman Jr.'s workload.
I'll take a piece of this.
Yeah, the more we talk this out, the more this one makes sense.
I also think that this award. Yeah, I think you need to have a ceiling of like being the leading receiver on a team that I mean, kind of like Cooper Kupp caught people by surprise that year, but he also had just an insane year. I wonder what it would take for Pittman to get it, because it would probably be a lot of touchdowns. I feel like the touchdowns would be the key element there.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, these are guys who are. Like a lot of these guys, Christian McCaffrey, Justin Jefferson, Cooper Kupp, Derrick Henry, Michael Thomas. These are guys who are winning your fantasy leagues.
But key in on the fact, like the receivers, Michael Thomas and Cooper Kupp did it with insane reception years. I know Justin Jefferson had the workload too, but you need can you get 35% of the target share on your team? 30%, because if you can't, you have no chance.
Yeah. No, and I think Pittman can.
Maybe Hollywood Brown needs to be crossed off. I guess him and Kelsey could each get 30%.
Yeah, that
30% target share feels like a table stakes for this award.
That's probably another good thing to add in there.
If you're not a running back or a quarterback.
Yeah,
and Marvin Harrison will get 30% of the target share.
Yeah, I'm not playing any rookies.
Well, do you think the AP will respect him standing up to the Players Association, or
maybe? I don't know what their opinion is.
All right, 100-1. I think that's good for me. I'm not. T Higgins is you could sell me on that, but it would involve Jamar Chase being injured. All right, 120-1 or 120 and 110-1. Devonta Smith, Kyler Murray, Calvin Ridley, DK Metcalf, Tank Dell, Sam Laporta. All 120-1. Sam Laporta 110-1.
Yeah, Devonta Smith on a team that could have one of the top passing offenses. I guess you're worried about AJ Brown, but that's why you play both of them.
What's I would imagine there's a pretty. This is one of those classic. Well, I'd prefer, especially if you did the analysis of overlaying the offensive player of the year odds with fantasy. Obviously, the gap between Brown's odds and Devonta Smith's odds are not representative of like a first and a third rounder or whatever. So sure, it makes sense that you would want to take all the Eagles on the board. You didn't say Dallas Goedert's name, so that's
no.
We'll call that growth.
He won't.
Yeah,
won't make it. Sam Laporta,
Kyler.
Kyler, no, I'm not playing any quarterbacks. Sam Laporta at 110-1. No, if he was like that 300 to 400 to 1, you could talk me into it. But I know it sounds crazy making a delineation, but you need like bonkers odds because to your point,
never happened.
It's never happened. I wonder if like
what would it take to happen? 20 touchdowns.
I think if you go back and look at some of those Gronk years, if now that we've realized that the award has changed to the best skill player, non-quarterback, I think he might get it. So let me go back and look at Gronk's best year. Well, and that's the problem.
Did he ever get votes? What was his best year? I'll look up the voting that year.
I mean, in 2011, he had 90 catches, 17 touchdowns.
All right, so that year,
he got in 2014. He got 2014 and 2017. He got Offensive Player of the Year votes.
So in that
in 2014, he was 5th. In 2017, he was 3rd in Offensive Player of the Year.
Oh, I looked up 2011, which I just realized is probably not the year you were talking about. It's probably the 2012 awards, but the year 2011, Aaron Rodgers got the MVP. Drew Brees, the only other person to get votes. Offensive Player of the Year was Drew Brees. Aaron Rodgers, only other player to get second place vote. So they hadn't changed the groove at that point. Let me pull up 2012. Yeah, 2012.
Oh, you know what? Sorry, and I was looking at. That was Comeback Player of the Year. Offensive. The only year he got a vote was 2014. And he came in 5th.
D'Amico Ryans won that year.
DeMarco Murray.
What did I say?
D'Amico Ryans.
Yeah, DeMarco Murray. Aaron Rodgers was second place that year.
So I don't think he was that far off. Like if he would have had, the 17 touchdown season in that year. I mean, it's crazy he didn't get a vote in 2011. That's crazy. Who won the MVP in 2011?
I think it was 2012, right? Because
no, 2011 is when he got had 17 touchdowns.
That wasn't the 2011 season, so 2012 awards. I think the awards year is like 1 year ahead. I could be wrong with that. No. Then it was Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees.
Yeah,
they just took up all the votes.
All right. So no tight ends.
Yeah, definitely no tight ends, unless you think they can get 20 touchdowns. They probably even need help then. All right, 100-1. Rashad White, Travis Kelce, Isaiah Pacheco, Nico Collins, Zay Flowers, Amari Cooper, Raheem Mostert. Anyone here have a 30% target share chance and elite numbers? I mean, Nico Collins is in the offense to do it, just like Tank Dell. We just talked about him.
Yeah.
Probably would involve someone getting hurt for one of these guys.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's the problem. Nico Collins, I think, fits the profile for a lot of reasons.
Kelce at 100-1.
No,
Swifties don't have a vote.
He doesn't. He's even admitted that he's kind of like dialing it down for the regular season. Nico is interesting at 100-1.
Say Flowers.
I'm gonna take this because I'm as a fade of
Steph Diggs. I like that. You're really leaning into the Steph Diggs fade. He's 50-1, by the way. Which, if you're comparing those with fantasy ADP, what do you think sharper right now? This market or best ball ADP? Because best ball ADP suggests that Collins should be the 50-1 and Steph Diggs should be the 100-1.
Yeah, fantasy knows.
I'm just then you got a little bit of value right there, Sean. 80-1 tier will drop down. Cooper Kupp, James Cook, Josh Jacobs, Brandon Ayuk, DJ Moore, Dak Prescott, Chris Olave, Devontae Adams. I mean, Chris Olave could certainly have a crazy bonkers like catch season, but I just can't see someone from that offense winning this award.
No.
Devontae Adams is still Devontae Adams, but they're going to run the damn ball. I mean, Dak is Dak. DJ Moore, too much competition. Brandon Ayuk, too much competition.
Yeah.
James Cook, he's not even his own team's goal line back. Cooper Kupp and Josh Jacobs. We obviously know Cooper Kupp can do it. I too much competition for me with Puka.
Yeah, that's the only.
But
thing.
Josh Jacobs.
No, it's close, but no, because I think Jordan Love kind of emerged as a star. They have a bunch of other receivers with a decent name. The LaFleur offense is going to get him some looks, but I mean,
he can score a lot of touchdowns. If him and if you took the best of an Aaron Jones season,
yeah,
and you kept him healthy,
that's probably a good comparison. And Aaron Jones has been nowhere near getting this award.
No, it would be touchdowns. He would need to cash in on the touchdown. So I'm with you. We can move on.
Yeah, and Aaron Jones has had some pretty productive years and just nowhere close.
I do like Josh Jacobs in fantasy.
Yeah.
60-1, Mike Evans, Jalen Hurts, CJ Stroud, Travis Etienne, Justin Herbert, Jordan Love. Again, if people in the real world saw where Justin Herbert is being drafted in fantasy,
yeah,
comical. Certainly mispriced according to that logic. CJ Stroud, Jalen Hurts. I know you don't think it's possible, but if you believe they're the type of quarterback that could be in a serious MVP competition, and there isn't that skill player that stands out.
Yeah, I guess my
to me, these guys both check the box.
My theory is that because of the way the offenses have changed in the past 5 years, the way they continue to make it easier to put up points, fantasy yards, scoring.
Highly unlikely no one hits.
Yes, someone is going to have an amazing fantasy season, and that person will win Offensive Player of the Year, and they won't be a quarterback. Is my thesis. So yeah, no one's really that interesting for me here. Obviously, I love Jalen Hurts, but I think if he has that type of season, they'll figure out a way to give him MVP.
Yeah, I'm tempted to say mark CJ Stroud for me, just as my principal play. I kind of want to do that.
Okay. You kind of want to do it, or are you doing it?
I'm doing it.
Okay. CJ Stroud, 60-1 for Ryan.
Locked in. Anyone else? Any other ETN 60-1?
No.
Evans? Nah.
No.
50-1. Debo, Anthony Richardson, Steph Diggs, Patrick Mahomes, Drake London, Lamar Jackson. Oh, I'm sorry. Lamar is 45-1. I'll give you Lamar, Joe Burrow, Devin Achin, Kyron Williams, Josh Allen, and Derrick Henry to keep it moving. I mean, Anthony Richardson, certainly if he stays healthy, is the type of player that I also think could win Offensive Player of the Year without catching the MVP. I mean, if you liked the Michael Pittman logic, another one of his teammates at USC, Drake London at 50-1. I mean, if you believe the fantasy honks, he's a first round pick. So 50-1. He's got clear opportunity for 30% target share.
Yep.
He checks all the boxes.
Yep. No, thanks.
He checks all the
boxes.
boxes.
Thanks on Kirk Cousins in this Atlanta Falcons offense.
50-1. He checks all the boxes.
No thanks.
You know how many newsletters we're going to see recommending you bet Michael Pitt or Drake London offensive player?
I mean, we had this conversation with the NFL way too early week 1, but the fact that they fucked up the number 8 overall pick, it alerted everyone. They gave away the scent. We were like a bloodhound, Ryan, and we had tracked in on the fact that they were those pigs that smell at the mushrooms. That was us. We were about to eat these mushrooms, and then the GM for the Falcons goes, "Hey, the mushrooms are over here. The we suck mushrooms." It's like, come on, we were a pig. We smelled it a mile away. And then he blew it up by drafting Michael Penix, number 8 overall. I think is gonna hurt some of this Falcons hype.
Derrick Henry. No. You know what? No. Delete CJ Stroud for me. I wasn't confident. But Josh Allen's the guy because I think this team could be mediocre and Josh Allen have an insane season.
Yep. Yeah. No. Allen MVP.
Josh Allen 45. No, because I don't think he gets the MVP if they're not the 1 seed. Like we've discussed at length, this is going to be a wild card team at best. But Josh Allen's going to rush for like 15 touchdowns, throw for like another.
They're dying to give Josh Allen the MVP. Is my take. So I think he is
okay.
If he's anywhere close, I think he gets it.
If they're like 10-7, might be tough for him to give him the MVP.
Debo, I think would be interesting, but it's just tough with Christian McCaffrey and Ayuk there,
and Brock Purdy,
and
George Kittle,
yeah,
and John Lynch, and Kyle Shanahan. So many people to give credit to. 35-1, Jonathan Taylor, Garrett Wilson, Jahmyr Gibbs. I'll include AJ Brown for you there at 30-1.
AJ Brown, yes, let's go.
Garrett Wilson. Aaron Rodgers has gotten guys really nice seasons before. Never won an award for one of these receivers.
Devontae Adams never won, right?
Never won the award.
Yeah, I mean Wilson's all Jets passing offense does really well, but you know Rodgers' numbers not quite MVP caliber. There's also probably some media members who find him insanely annoying, would not want to vote for him.
Oh yeah.
How do you be a good New York media member and reward the Jets without celebrating known fibber Aaron Rodgers?
They love Garrett Wilson.
Wilson at 35-1 is pretty interesting.
The media loves Garrett Wilson. He's clearly going to get 30% of the target share. Mark him down for me too. He's clearly getting.
No, the path for Wilson makes a shit ton of sense.
And this might be like a full unit play because I don't think there's too many. He's a clear first round pick in fantasy. There's no doubting that. No one. It's not controversial.
No competition.
What do you mean, Mike Williams and Malachi Corley? Not the competition.
No competition.
Breece Hall.
Yeah, I mean,
where he's 25-1. That's interesting. Do you like Breece Hall 25-1, Garrett Wilson 35-1 better?
Yeah, I mean, I can see how you make a case for both of them, but I'll say, yeah, I'll take Wilson at 35-1 because I mean, Breece Hall's interesting, but also like
I've seen the movie, and our hero is going to want to flash that cannon. He doesn't want to check some shit down to Breece Hall. Breece Hall might get 15 touchdowns, but it's not going to feel like an offensive player of the year type of season.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Garrett Wilson's a great pick. There's no one else that's like clear. This feels like a no brainer. A great price too. No way this price exists in August, Sean. When we're out in Vegas, at the circuit.
Way.
We might have to take a dark of the night trip, drive out there, get some tickets. Breece Hall, like I said, 25-1. Puka 25-1. Bijan 25-1. Amon-Ra 21-1, and Saquon 20-1. Bijan, I get the case. He's a clear first rounder, as is Breece Hall. Those guys are like
he's on the Falcons.
Yeah, I don't think Bijan's a good bet.
Puka,
no thank you.
I like Puka, but not at 25-1. That's
a little puzzling how high up his value.
He should be closer to. I mean, him and Cooper Kupp should both be 40-1. Would be my take.
I'm fine with that. Like they should all be in the Drake London zone.
I mean, Amon-Ra at 21-1 is a pretty good case.
Here's my pushback. So Garrett Wilson and Amon-Ra to me are very similar in terms of their like fantasy value.
Yeah.
But if I'm looking at this market, I want to have that clear path to 30% target share plus. And I do think you have Sam Laporta, you have Jahmyr Gibbs, you have the it looks like Jameson Williams out of the doghouse and looking to be a bigger part of the offense. So
as long as he doesn't get down on any bets.
I'm actually out on Amon-Ra for that reason. I think there's too many other guys that could take food off his plate.
Yeah, I mean,
I just listed 3 guys that could like.
No, you're right.
All like
you're right. I think
first round talent.
I guess playing devil's advocate, and I agree with you. It's hey, you're in a dome. We've seen it already with Jared Goff. We haven't seen Aaron Rodgers do anything with the Jets yet. We've seen this passing offense work at a high volume. The Jets defense is probably better than the Lions this year. Maybe the Lions, the Lions end up in a lot of these shootout type games, et cetera, et cetera. End of the season, you're not worried about weather with Amon-Ra for the most part, or at least the home game. So that's the case, but I'm with you. 21-1. It's a little It's just a little tight.
I just wanted to look something up before we moved on, real quick with Garrett Wilson. All right, so his quarterback play has been such dog shit, and he's had back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. I mean, he could easily have an outlier. Anyway, moving along. I'm not. I think Amon-Ra is a tough one. Barkley, I think tough to want to place a bet on a short odds, old washed up running back when Breece Hall and Bijan Robinson are staring at you right there. Interesting that he's the shortest odds on the team too. Feels a little disrespectful to AJ Brown. See if that mixes the locker room up a little bit.
No, I like Saquon's opportunity here in the offense. I think the offensive line's still going to be at a high level. Stoutland's good.
Can he squat more than Jalen Hurts?
Well, I know you were joking, Ryan, about the squatting, but Quinyon Mitchell came in and threw up a tremendous amount of plates.
Well, that guy's a dog. We talked about him all off season. I don't have anything bad to say about Quinyon Mitchell.
Look out,
dog.
No, I just think at 20-1, it's so tough because again, we'll see how many rushing touchdowns he gets with obviously Hurts working as the goal line back a lot of the times with the tush push. You have Devonta Smith, you have AJ Brown, you have Dallas Goedert, you have Paris Campbell, who might be the first touchdown play. Stay tuned, but
I'm be careful. He's pretty trash.
Albert O.
That's better.
No, Johnny Wilson. Look out. There's I just said 20-1. There's so many, Brown, I think is at 30-1 is like right on the edge of a price I'm willing to take with this Eagles offense because he has been in the mix for AP Offensive Player of the Year and has had those in that 2020 year, he was right up there with like best receiver in the league stat wise.
I'd almost go as far to say like 25-1 is like the barrier where I don't even know if I want to play anyone on the offense. It's such the opposite of the defensive player of the award.
Yeah.
You almost don't want to play anyone in the short odds range because just shit can happen. All right. So Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb are all 10-1. McCaffrey's 9-1, Tyreek Hill 7-1. So if fantasy is any indicator here, fantasy McCaffrey is always the top dog, and then it's CeeDee Lamb, and then the Hill Chase Jefferson's batch. So for that reason, no way I would take Tyreek Hill as the shortest odd. McCaffrey to me is always in the mix because of what he's going to serve, but I can't take him at 9-1 because of his you haven't even released your injury prediction on Christian McCaffrey.
I would say to me, Christian McCaffrey and Justin Jefferson are almost two cross-offs because
they've won it recently.
Yeah. And you have to go back to 2013 with Peyton Manning again, where they were clearly voting for this in a different way, where we saw from 2018 to 2007, you saw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 quarterbacks.
Yeah.
That was in the quarterback era. We've clearly transitioned to a different non-quarterback era. So, but I still think the non-repeater is there, and at the price, like none of these are that. I don't know. Maybe I'm. Tyreek Hill is the favorite for a reason. He was right there in the MVP mix. Like he didn't get it last year. Like what does he have to do?
If we weren't, I do think that CeeDee Lamb has there's no one else there to catch passes. And if the defense takes a step back because Dan Quinn is gone, maybe there's just so much counting stat garbage that he's in. But why would you want to take him as a favorite? And even Jamar Chase. So yeah, he's going to get 30% target share, but they did draft the kid Burton. They do have T Higgins in a contract year. Jamar Chase would be the most interesting short odds guy. And Justin Jefferson, because although he did win recently, if he has a great season with a rookie,
yeah, you're right. They'll definitely pump him up. Yeah,
but I don't think I want to take any of the favorites here.
Yeah, to me, it's like all these guys eat off their.
So if you have to pick one, who is it? Is it Chase or Jefferson?
I would say Jefferson actually, even though I just said
you just rolled him out.
Well, I don't like Jamar Chase because of T Higgins. I think it really.
Yeah.
I mean, to your point,
makes me like Garrett Wilson even more.
To your point, you said like one, if he's doing it with a rookie quarterback or Sam Darnold, it's going to count for that much more. And he had still really good numbers last year with the menagerie of quarterbacks they trotted out there.
If I'll being honest, I worry a little bit that they're going to try to run the ball a bit more because they got a rookie and they brought Aaron Jones in. I just worry that it's just the volume might not be there.
I guess. But T Higgins is really good, and that ultimately eats from Jamar Chase. So I don't like any of these chalky ones. Now,
all right.
Again, Christian McCaffrey what was he last year? He was like 20-1.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the sweet spot. 25-1 and up is good for me.
All right. So I have Garrett Wilson 35-1, Josh Allen 45-1, Pittman 150-1, Hollywood 200-1, Goff 200-1, Neighbors 300-1, and Coleman 400-1, and then we sprinkled Zamir White at 400-1.
Okay, Zamir White's a sprinkle. Coleman's a full unit play.
Well, yeah.
No, it's just funny that you went out of your way to say Zamir White.
Oh, because Keon Cole. I really like the Keon Cole. You know what? We call the courier.
Okay,
we need to get a package. He's the number one in Buffalo. Who knows? They've produced it before.
Yeah, I mean, to your point,
I get it, he's a rookie, but
yeah, I don't they'll give him rookie of the year.
Sean, 400-1. I only need if I put $100 on a 400-1 bet.
It's $40K. Let's go. It's a new Toyota.
It's life-changing money.
Zamir White 400-1 for me. That is not a sprinkle.
Full unit.
Hollywood Brown 200-1. Michael Pittman at 150-1. I think price, situation, everything factored in. Number one, less competition, dome, upside quarterback. I like the offensive coordinator. Defense might have some issue.
Should we invest? We need to.
Michael Pittman at price is my favorite play. Devonta Smith 120-1. Go Birds. Nico Collins 100-1. That's just a fun way to fade Steph Diggs. Garrett Wilson at 35-1. You understand why he's so chalky. And then AJ Brown, just because he's been up there before, and is just a dog in every sense of the word.
But I mean, but if you laid this out according to ADP,
yeah, what's the most bonkers one?
McCaffrey 9-1.
Okay.
Lamb 10-1.
I mean, these are all guys in the first
Hill
round,
7-1. Right? Yeah, I'm just listen. It's Hill 7-1. Chase 10-1. Jefferson 10-1. Amon-Ra St. Brown 21-1. Bijan 25-1. Brees Hall 25-1.
So you're going by ADP,
and then Garrett Wilson 35-1. He's the only receiver, and AJ Brown 30-1.
Yeah.
The only consensus first round receivers that are outside that 20-1 range is AJ Brown and Garrett Wilson. Outside of that, if you look at the reason, using it as a comparison tool to do things like not take Diggs and take Collins, like that's the best way to use it. But I do think the Texans have the ability to get there, but one of those receivers needs to go down, get out of the way.
Steph Diggs, he's going to be a problem. Not going to work out.
Football's almost here, Sean.
Football is almost here. Team previews right around the corner, Ryan. We got our surprise sport debuting on Thursday. Tomorrow night's show, we're going to talk a little UFC with our buddy Gumby. Some best bets for some hoops as well.
They decided to keep playing games.
Sports Gambling Podcast. Yeah, the NBA figured that out. SportsGamblingPodcast.com/bracket. Noah Beanick and the College Baseball Experience. They're doing a $200 SGPN gift card, a bracket for the college baseball tournament. Make sure you get in over there.
Worth also promoting that he is doing episodes for every regional.
Yes.
Which essentially he's like doing 16 episodes. So there's 16 quads of teams breaking it all down.
And also
feels excessive.
DGen University, still a chance to get in your application. We will be announcing one.
Do we have a camo DGen University sweatshirt?
It's a great question.
Is Jake listening?
Hit up Jake.
Jake listens. That's the best thing about Jake is he listens. We just have to say it out
The new
loud.
camo, if Josh can pull those up, the new camo stuff, very cool as well. And again, promo code SGPN May. It ends when the month of May ends, so get in while you can.
Almost there.
Thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
For the Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean, second the money green. He's Ryan.
Josh Allen, Offensive Player of the Year. Oh, what do we? Oh,
Kramer, let it ride.
Right.